families and children and people of color. And I just never thought that I would come to see my country in that way. So we have that going on, and then we have Attorney General Barr suggesting that his own people have spied on the president, and he used incendiary language, meaning that the language was, yes, I believe they spied. And my comment on that is, under what circumstances can a president ever be investigated? This president has said he could shoot someone in Midtown Manhattan and his folks would still love him. And I do believe that is true. And from everything that I am seeing and every indication that he is giving, he has support. And he has a depth of support with the Republican Party, which is very disturbing. And in my 70 years, I have never felt the kind of fear, overall fear for my country. I always thought that there were the forces that would act as a check to the things that any politician might do, and the checks and balances would all somehow force us to do the right thing. I'm no longer sure that that's the case. So that's my national look at this point. Now, if we want to go local, and we'll open this up to further conversation, but if you want to go local, we have an ex officio mayor now by the name of Bernard Jack Young. We have a current mayor who is at home recuperating from pneumonia, and we wish her well because that is a serious ailment and she needs to recover. But notwithstanding all those things, we now have a city that is, I would say, in chaos. There is the feeling of instability, I believe, and I see the ex officio mayor trying to come to grips with the kinds of problems that we are having in the city. In fact, he is mounting an effort to do something during the Easter break so that recreation centers, about 40 recreation centers, will be open for young people to have some outlets for their boundless energy. And I think that's a good thing. In the meantime, we have a mayor Mayor Catherine Pugh, who every single day it seems as if there is some new revelation. Revelation about self-dealing, revelations about contracts that have exorbitant fees attached to them and with very little oversight. So we have a country which seems to be teetering on the edge of something, and I'm not sure what that is. And we have a city that is also mired in controversy. And I want for this country and this city to somehow become whole again. And I'm trying to figure out exactly how that will happen. And I'm looking for suggestions. And then one other thing, and then Patrick has arrived, and that's a wonderful thing. Hello, Patrick.
Good afternoon to each and every one of you, James. You're handling it very well. I knew you would. Hey, if y'all are coming down, what is that, 630? What's that right there?
695.
695. Do not do it. It's back up all the way to Pikesville.
Oh, no.
It took me 20 minutes to get from Pikesville to here. So whatever you're doing, a detour, quickly, forward right ahead, we're right on topic to where we're planning to go today. We are in a state of... Is Lavitra still online?
No, she's not. Okay. The only other point that I would make is that we now have Michael Harrison as the police commissioner, and he is on board without a day-to-day supervisor that hired him, which is an interesting set of circumstances. So Michael Harrison has to do a job and establish a vision without the visionary who hired him. So he will be, I have confidence that he'll try to work it out and work it out. But while he's doing that, he's now bringing on board some new people. So he's brought on board two individuals. His contract, and I've always said I want to be his agent. His contract allows him to have a chief of staff and up to 8 individuals brought on board of his choosing. With a contract at $195,000 per year, and another one for 3 years at $165,000, and he's now engaging in an activity to interview at least 40 of his command staff to actually get an assessment of whether there are people within the Baltimore Police Department currently that would have merit in terms of being in his senior leadership command staff. Well,
I tell you what, I've always believed that the Baltimore Police Department was just so corrupt that the tentacles, the body, every part of it was corrupt. And I'm seeing where 4 people have resigned already, so meaning they weren't on board with the changes he was making. And I don't care what anybody says, we're a little xenophobic in Baltimore. We don't like outsiders, and I experienced that for 4 years. When I moved here, I couldn't get a job, and with my credentials, how
can that be, Patrick? We love you.
Well, hey, listen, I guess they didn't listen to my music. They didn't know, even though they were singing all of my music in their churches, in every church in the city, they were singing my music, but I could not get a job at a church as a minister of music or even as a musician. Wow. People say, well, why'd you leave California if you had it going on there? What you come here for? I couldn't believe the rudeness and the sort of like smugness of the musicians that were here. And it hurt my feelings, but God made a way, as he always does. And so I can tell you, I know this place is xenophobic, and I do believe that sometimes we need outsiders to come in with a breath of fresh air and a new way of looking at things that are not jaded and biased and already corrupt and a part of the system. We went 10 days without a killing, which was a record for this time of the year. So, and then I don't think did anybody die in the last few days? Or
I think they've had 2 or 3.
2, but there were some that were shot, but they didn't die, so they weren't fatal. But you know what, James? I noticed, hi Richard, I know you're there, is that my children in my after-school program, their anger always gets to the point that I'll kill you. I'll bring my parents up here and they will shoot you. There is this attitude with the children that I'm seeing that is not redemptive, not forgiving, and just sort of, and I'm wondering if they're growing up with that attitude, that if they grew up with that attitude, well, when they got a handgun near them or they can get one and somebody pisses them off, then there's no talk. They just go and deal with it the way that they've always dealt with it.
Unfortunately, Patrick, that has been coming more and more within the past, I'd say, decade or so.
You don't think this is the direct result of lead poisoning? You don't think that these children...
It could be because lead poisoning, if I read all of the studies correctly, it does have a psychological... Yes. It causes an imbalance.
Yes, it does, mentally. Yeah, and every people. I'm telling you, I'm reading up on Beethoven, and they found they couldn't understand. He was a madman. He hated everybody. He was rude. He was arrogant. And they finally found he took a lock of his hair and had it examined. And guess what he died from? He lost his hearing.
What was it?
Lead poisoning. Lead poisoning. Caravaggio, one of the greatest artists that ever lived. lead poison.
This whole thing of if we get in a fight when we were growing up, if we had a disagreement with somebody, it was just a fist fight, and then you ultimately sometimes became friends with the person that you fought.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know what? What surprises me is some of my kids will be trying to kill each other one day. They come up the next day hugging, holding hands. They buddies. So they seem to forget. But they don't seem to manage their tempers, and they get so excited and so angry that they would do violent things. Well, and I think it just follows them.
They've never known anything else. When we were coming up, there were cartoons that were violent, and there were
we separate the
Lone Ranger and all those things.
But we didn't have computer games.
But we also had families that sort of sheltered us from the real violence.
Some of us did.
And then what happened, children started having children. And they had no way of separating their anger over their situation from any other kinds of things that were going on. So they took that anger out on their children.
Well, are we talking about the children of the crack baby revolution? This is mainly what we're talking about.
Let's go back a little bit before that, Patrick.
Okay.
And violence at first was cartoonish in nature. You know, you had the Roadrunner falling and Wile E. Coyote falling off.
But it wasn't real.
It wasn't real.
Right. It was a cartoon.
Reality set in the late 60s on the evening news. On the CBS Evening News, during the height of the Vietnam War, when there was a spy by a police chief in South Vietnam, on the 6 o'clock news, and didn't warn anybody it was coming. And that's, I think, was the...
You think that was a trigger?
Huh?
Think that was a trigger?
That was the start of it, because then violence became real. And violence became the norm.
But you know what? I understand, and I remember that very well. What you're speaking of, I remember the pictures, and I remember the whole time since I am a flower child. We are flower children sitting here and speaking on it. But I tell you what, I think that we cannot put it all on that.
No, I'm not putting it all on that.
Okay.
I'm just saying that was the...
You think that was a trigger, but I think that according to Dr. Joy DeGruy, she contends that because of enslavement, that we were trying to protect our kids from massa. Okay, if the kid was too smart, when massa came in, we dumbed him down so massa wouldn't take him. We would say, oh, he ain't no good, but he won't even take out the trash, massa, and we would put him down to protect him from massa. But then we felt like to protect him from the massa and from police, we had to beat some correction into him. So we didn't talk very much to our children. We just popped them. Never asked them why, and I contend that this is the reason so many of our children are so confused. They're so angry. I've never seen such angry children in my life. Really, I just haven't. And they're angry at the world. I took a survey about bullying last summer, and I'm convinced that they don't even really understand what bullying is. They don't understand when teachers are bullying them. They don't understand when their parents are bullying them, because that's considered the norm. And once you start considering the norm, then that's what you repeat. Am I right or wrong?
They have not been exposed to anything other than violence.
Yes.
The children that you're dealing with now in your schools are post 9/11.
Yes.
So they didn't even experience the horror of that. And that 9/11 set in a deep and I think everlasting weak spot in terms of man's inhumanity to man. And then after that, all of these children that you're seeing now, they came into existence after those things were ingrained in their parents. And so it's violence begetting violence begetting violence.
Yes.
And I don't know how you get back to those days of peace and harmony.
Well, I tell you, I know how.
Okay.
I know how.
Music.
Not only music, music will soothe a savage beast. But I think we've got to turn the paradigm around for the way we're treating our children and the way we're raising them. You got to stop just hitting them every time they do something. Why don't you ask them why? And if you ask them why, first of all, I think you're going to laugh because they do have a reason for doing it. They're not just doing it just because they want to do it. They've got a reason for it. And if you ask them why they did it, and you help them to say, well, that's right, that's wrong. You can't do that. This is what happens when you do it. Right. Then they learn to understand, to critically think before they do things. And I believe that's what's going to have to come in. We're going to have to rethink the way that we interact with our children. And the other thing is we need to teach them that we're all one. They need to love black people. They need to love our people. They need to know that we're all that we have. And if we can't come together, then the white man is going to continue to do what he's doing, finding ways to divide us.
But do you understand what you're saying is that in every household, you have to have the philosophy that you just espoused?
Yes, sir.
How do you do that?
Easily.
Okay.
Treat the children the way you want to be treated. James, I could come to your house, I could talk to you, and I could tell you, James, get somewhere and sit down. And you go, sir, excuse me, this is my house. I sit where I please in my house. But we don't think of children having those kinds of rights.
No, they don't.
We don't give it to them. We look at them as a piece of property instead of a little adult in training and growing up. So we've got to realize that the way we're treating them now is the way they're going to follow through in their adult life. Check this out. When they're just starting to walk, when they're just starting to talk, we adore them. Oh, you're doing good. Look at you. Then as soon as they get their ambulatory and they can walk and they start getting into stuff, no. Everything is no. And the kids go, why you let me get away with that when I was this age? Now you're saying no. So then they defy it because they have grown into being able to have liberty. And that is what's missing from our people. We don't understand the power of liberty. But I contend that liberty begets curiosity, and curiosity begets creativity. And I believe if we realize that and understand, sure, you can't have your foot on their neck all the time, but give them a little leeway, more celebration than correction.
Well, and we have to stop being busy.
That's true.
We are so busy as a society.
Yes. Preoccupied.
If you give a child a tablet, or if you put them in a room with a computer game, then
television.
Then you've got maybe an hour of free time.
A babysitter, right?
That's your built-in babysitter. Back in the day, and I don't really want to continue to say back in the day we did it such and such, but history. We had dinner with each other, and we actually talked through things at the dinner table. My father worked swing shift, and so if he had 3 to 11, 3 a.m. to 11, we might get up just to have a meal with him before he went to try to go to work.
That was cold. Yes.
Those kinds of things don't exist now because we're too busy.
We're not only all too busy, but we're encumbered by life.
We have to be busy.
You're talking about, we don't have any choice. You're talking about $7.50 an hour in minimum wage. Yeah. So you got to have 2 and 3 jobs, and so a husband and a wife, they both need to have 2 jobs just so that they can live at least a normal in a normal capacity, and when they've got children. But you're not talking about after school care. You're not talking about feeding them. You're not talking about clothing them. So there's a lot of stress, and parents want to do, I believe, innately by their children, but a lot of people look at their children as their punishment.
I didn't get a key to my house until I was 15.
We didn't even have a lock on the door in Texas. So,
and now you have children at, very early ages having to fend for themselves.
What do you call them? Lock key?
What do you call them?
Latchkey kids.
Latchkey kids.
Yeah. And the only reason I got the key when I was 15 is that I stayed out past my curfew, and my mother said, look, you stayed out past your curfew. We're going to give you a key and act like you know. So it's a long story,
Wow.
but it was a learning experience.
But because they saw that they trusted you, and they trust. That's what we don't do. We don't hug our children enough. I know the boys and the girls. Y'all think that hugging them, even when a baby's crying, that a wife just let that baby cry. No, that's the worst thing in the world you can do. You need to go find out what's wrong with them. They need to know somebody cares. And when they know somebody cares, then they'll learn how to care about others because they're learning empathy.
But now we've gotten legal as well. So if a teacher hugs a student a lot, then there is speculation that the teacher might be molesting the child.
Well.
Or if the child says, Mr. Henderson, he patted me on the back, or told me I did a good job, and so
people are leery.
The society has gotten to the point where there is a lack of trust. So,
well, legislatively, they are now telling parents how to parent. Let's be honest.
Well, not only that, but remember this, and I have found my kids, the kids up at Liberty Elementary School, I see them, and they run to me. It might have been the only hug they had all day, but then I noticed they hug the teachers. They walk up, they want that love, they want that validation, they want that attention. The first thing I do is, how was your day? How was your week? What did you learn today?
But do you ever feel restrained?
There was one little girl, and it's a long story, I'm going to make it real short, but I walked up to her and I put my hands on her shoulder, and she says, "Why are you putting your hands on me?" And I said, "Okay, no problem." "Okay, why, is there a problem?" She goes, "No, I just don't like it, men putting their hands on me." Come to find out, she was having problems at home. So one day after she got to know me and everything, she walked up and put her index finger in my thumb, in my chest. I said, "Oh no, get your hands off of me. You can't touch me. You can't touch me, and I ain't nobody touched me in my home. Ain't nobody, but you can't touch me." "Oh, why, Mr. Henderson?" I said, "Because you felt like I couldn't hug you. And I want to love you and let you know I'm happy to see you. That's all that it is." She got to be one of my best students. Come to find out, the little girl is going to be a sojourner truth. She sees injustice right now in our people. But I had to deal with her, understanding what she had been conditioned and what her fears were. You cannot just treat them all alike, and I agree with you. You got to find out where they are. But most of all, if they're children, they want to be loved, and they want attention. And a hug can go, and I see them, they run up and hug the teachers and stuff, and they can see them walking across the parking lot and go get them a hug before they leave, because that's who we were.
Right.
I
agree with you wholeheartedly, but our society is a lot different now than it used to be. And those hugs would be natural back in my day. Now they're a little more contrived because there's all the legal threats and the distortions. A legitimate, heartfelt, warm hug may be perceived by the parent as something completely different.
Well,
so it's
I tell you what, one thing it does say about the kid, if they begging one for a hug from you, that means they're not getting them at home. Let's start there. So they can point fingers all they want, but the bottom line is that children need attention.
Sure
they need to know that you know their name. I had one little girl, I could never remember her name. She says, "You don't know my name, do you?" She's a highly intelligent little girl. She's going to be great. She's got a great voice. She reminds me of Barbara Jordan. She's got that real stately sort of, authoritative, and she ain't but 9 years old, right? And she said, "You don't remember my name, so I have to remember all of their names. I have to remember, even if they're not in my class no more. They'll see me down the hall, 'Hey, Mr. Henderson,' and I hope to remember their name, just to let them know that they're not just a number, that they mean something to me. They mean something to the program that we're in to enrich their lives." Well, I know we also most time to get out of here. Well, what you reckon is going to happen with the mayor?
Well, Patrick, after our conversation, something suddenly hit me.
What?
All of these people that have asked for her to resign are distancing themselves from her.
Like the BDC, Baltimore Development Corporation.
Right, they're distancing themselves from her because I think they're trying to limit their potential culpability in this whole affair.
The culpability mean that they might be to get busted too.
In it in some way. Now, with that, the question suddenly becomes, well, what's going on? Is her legal team now trying to arrange for her to exit and then bring in you with her?
Bring who? You cut out there. Bring what with her?
and cut out. Is she going to testify and bring everybody down with her?
Yeah, well, see, that's what I'm thinking, that she hasn't resigned yet because she's going to use it as bargaining power.
Yeah, and she's going to talk because he's been in government for 30 years. Mm-hmm. She knows where the bodies are buried.
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does.
She does. But you look at how quick they're abandoning ship.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I mean. They're distancing themselves.
There is no reason for her to resign if she hasn't resigned already
without being convicted or indicted. Right? Is that
right? She hasn't been indicted, and there's no rule that says she must be dispatched from the office. So it is in her best interest, looking at it completely selfishly from her perspective, to stay right there. Now, the fact that she won't be able to work with the people that make her successful in the job, like
confidence,
like the city council or the Greater Baltimore Committee or any of the high-powered people that come to this city, that's a negative. But for her personally, I don't think there's any advantage in her resigning, and I don't think that she will.
Well, we're going to see. We're going to see. Y'all want y'all to pay attention. I don't care who you are. In the time of trouble, the Bible says there is nothing like an unfaithful friend. You might think people are your friends, but get in trouble.
You know who your friends are.
You will find out very shortly. I had one kid that was a great producer that I was teaching and training and everything, and he had this rich man's disease. I can't think of the name of it, but it was rare for a black person to get it. And all his thug friends, not one of them called him. He was in the hospital for a couple of months. Not one called him. Not one went to see him. And that was a wake-up call for him. You got to really know when people show you who they are, believe them the first time.
Yes.
And notice the people that love and care for you and are concerned about you. Don't waste your time on the others. You're just wasting your energy because all they're basically trying to do is use you. And when they can't use you anymore, they're moving on anyway. So honor your friends, honor those that love you, and honor those that you love.
Hold them close.
And hold them close. Yeah, especially your children and your family members. All of them stand mad at each other all them years. Hey, Susie, you know, she told a lie on me 30 years ago. Forget all of that, you all. Let us go into a framework of forgiveness of each other and draw nigh to each other, because we're all we got and we really are all we need. You've been listening to Pat Henderson's Meet the People on Spirit 1400. We want you to join us tomorrow. Y'all know that there's a mess in the housing projects. They say we got the worst housing projects in the city, and so we got to talk about that, and we got a few other hot topics to talk about. But join us tomorrow at 11:30 on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Say goodbye, Jimmy.
Goodbye, folks, and thank you for letting me host for a few minutes.
Thank you for doing a great job, and say goodbye, Richard. God bless you all. Have a great day.
Take care.
WWIN Baltimore, WWIN HD Baltimore.
On the web at spirit1400.com.
Spirit 1400, the spirit of today's gospel.
The spirit of today's gospel.
Hello, my name is Rhonda Jackson, and I'm excited to tell you about an incredible opportunity that can change your life. What if I told you that you can learn the skill of trading? Yes, trading from a $5.3 trillion a day market called Forex and cryptocurrency. We have a team of top traders that can show you how you can turn $200 into $1 million in less than a year. Yes, $200 to $1 million in less than a year. Working a job or working for someone else is no longer your only option. Call me today, 202-264-0147. Again, 202-264-0147. Ask yourself this question. Over the last 10 years and all the money that's flowed through your bank account, how much have you made off of it? The money is available. Are you going to get yours? 202-264-0147. Or email me at Rhonda, RONDA Jackson 9106 @gmail and get your million today. Join us every Monday at 7 p.m. at the Newtown High School, 4931 Newtown Boulevard in Owens Mills, Maryland. See you there.